has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spartan Savants, the Michigan State sports podcast hosted by Michigan State alums from the class of 2016. Today we're talking about the Maryland game, the coming matchup against Iowa, and then we will have a little bit of coaching talk, not nearly as much as last week. And we'll pick some of our favorite MSU villains, as we're referring to them, as well as pick some games at the end of this. Pick some games for this weekend. You can edit that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with me today, my usual co-host Winston Erwiller and Nick Homberg. How are you guys doing today?
I am living the dream. It's been a bit of a long week for me with some travel for work and lots of flooding here in New York City, but riding high after that Lions win last night and hoping that Michigan State can surprise us all and give us a really good sports weekend.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a surprise.
Nicky?
I'm doing pretty well. That Lions win last night was awesome. Just pure dominance in the first half. Just living high off that. Nothing really better than a Lions or MSU win, But I'm looking forward to talking some Spartans.
Yeah, we might be seeing a lot more. We will be seeing a lot more Lions wins, Spartans wins this year, I think.
Might start a Lions podcast.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. Anyway, so let's just jump right into the Maryland game.
Why God do I gotta suffer? Pain in my heart, carry burdens full of struggle.
Start with you, Winston. What did you see over the weekend?
Yeah, that game, I really thought they had a better chance in that game than they did. It was really just a disappointing performance all around. I think, again, we got to see more of Noah Kim's true colors with the kind of quarterback he is and is going to be. I think that it's pretty clear what we're going to get out of him. I don't think anything's going to magically change out of nowhere. And not to put all the blame on him. They've said it on the broadcast several times between Maryland and the Washington game. The receivers are just not exactly the best in the business. They're not exactly giving him, a lot of options to throw to, and the offensive line is certainly not doing him any favors either.
Oh, yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, I thought the defense kept us in the game. Obviously towards the end, when it was already over, they gave up a couple sloppy touchdowns or some garbage time touchdowns, but for the most part, they kept us in that game. The offense really couldn't get the job done whatsoever. The offense got the ball back plenty of times with a chance to tie or bring the game within one score and really make it a game. But, they just could not get it done. So hats off to the defense. That was a much better performance. I think they held Talia Tagovailoa in check for the most part. Maybe some big plays here and there. Certainly got off behind the 8 ball with the start, but for the most part, got to give the defense credit for at least keeping us in the game. And that one has to fall on the offense. I thought, and I don't want to jump into too much. I know Katen Hauser's Nicky's territory, so I won't say too much, but the offense just seems to move better when he's in the game. And you can point to that interception. It was definitely an ugly pass on that screenplay in the red zone, but it kind of, and this is not my take, a lot of people have said this prior to now, but it kind of had that 2014 Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl feel with Connor Cook coming in. We weren't putting up a lot of points, but the offense just looked better. It looked smoother. Yeah. And just, if I could go back to Kim, the body language that he showed on the sidelines when he was taken out, again, I've already said this, but it was all I needed to see. Like he was whining, looked like he was talking to other players, kind of like, this is not my fault kind of body language. I can't believe this. Just not what you want to see from your starting quarterback that should be a leader. And I liked what I saw from Katen Hauser after he threw the interception. It's almost like by the time he got to the sideline, he'd already forgot about it. And, he was kind of laughing, just like that's what you want from a quarterback. You have to
Yeah.
have short-term memory in that position. And his body language wasn't, oh, I feel so sorry for myself. It was, hey, I'm going to go out in the next series and try and do better. And I thought Leavitt made some good throws. I'm excited about Hauser and Leavitt. I hope they can find a way to keep him around, and honestly, hope they can figure out a way to play them more because I have seen enough Noah Kim.
Yeah, I think we all have. I think you made a really good point on the body language too. But one thing I want to go back to is that defense. To your point, they were keeping us in the game, but they were dealing with the short field the entire time because that offense wasn't moving the ball. There's no way you're going to keep winning like games like that. And that Hauser throw you mentioned, that was absolutely good decision. He just put it in the wrong spot. The play was there to have possibly a touchdown even on that with the blockers in front. And we know what Carter can do when the ball gets in his hands. Nikki, what'd you see?
I mean, same as you. Basically, I thought honestly that our defense, after obviously a slow start, because we love that, they really, I think we could have won this game if our offense was just played decent, like not even good or like as you were saying, they kept us in the game, but I thought they were pretty impressive. Seemed to kind of lay off at the end, but the main thing is just our offense. They could occasionally get a drive going, but they just could never close. It seemed like. There's always a turnover, just or by.
Yeah, and they looked better with Hauser in there, definitely. That offensive line is just awful right now. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter who's back there when they have an offensive line like that. But I mean, Hauser looks more comfortable. We'll get in more into that stuff a little bit later. But it's just disappointing all the way around, and a lot of underachieving players on this team.
Yeah, young guys look good though. Chance Rucker.
Yeah, the young guys looked fantastic. I thought. I was very impressed by Chance Rucker in that game. They were picking on him early, but he responded late. And so I think there's been a lot of the other MSU shows that I've watched this week. We're talking about playing the younger guys, and I think that's the way to go. You got to at this point you got to put those guys on the field, see what you have.
Yep, I was just going to say it's time to do just that. You got to get the younger guys in the game. I think Rucker, what's the linebacker I'm thinking of? He's a great year. Yeah,
Jordan Hall. Yeah,
they're great examples. It's time to get them in the game. Antonio Gates Jr., Hauser, and Leavitt. That's the way they have to go. And honestly, I would much rather go 3-9 with those guys than 3-9 or 4-8. Even 5-7 with the other guys. I mean, let's see what we have. Let's get these guys some experience. It's time. It's the only way for me to stay excited or even care about this team.
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I really have nothing to add to that. You guys hit it right on the head. I mean, that's exactly the way they should be playing, right? What they should be doing right now, and just give some semblance of hope for the future, and maybe make a bowl game if we can.
Yeah, that's a long shot, but
I mean, that's where the maybe comes in.
I mean, you might as well, since we're talking about the future, might as well start talking about Iowa.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. That just switch gears over to the Iowa game now. They got a terrible offense. It's been much publicized over the years. Brian Ferentz even has a clause in his contract that he has to average a certain number of points this season or he loses his job. I can't remember anything like that ever.
I can't believe someone told me that the other day and I was baffled. I did not know that was a thing that existed. It's like 25 points a game, right?
Oh yeah. I thought it was like 34, which means he's like 2 touchdowns short right now.
Well, they count defensive touchdowns as offensive touchdowns towards that. So that counts towards just points per game.
It's still very low. I mean, they're averaging 21 a game.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he has to count on defensive touchdowns is not great.
Yeah, that's really sad.
The fact that clause is in his contract to begin with, and his dad's the head coach. I mean, you're doing something wrong at that point. I mean, even they talk about the quarterback switch to Cade McNamara. That hasn't helped. No, it's the same. It's the same thing going on. I mean, they got a rough start. So I mean, they're looking at this. I mean, their best. Yeah, they lost 31-0 to Penn State last week. Gave up what 200 something yards rushing in that game, maybe more. I don't remember. I'm trying
And
to
Penn
see the
State looks
number
good.
here. Yeah, they do. But luckily we don't have to worry about that till the end of the season. That'll be a
Right,
rough
yeah.
one. But yeah. I mean they only scored 24 points. Iowa only scored 24 points against Utah State, 20 against Iowa State. I mean, but you look at that defense and it's going to be so. I mean, we'll come back to the defense, but look at their offense. McNamara has 4 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions right now, under 500 yards passing through 4 games. That is
Yeah,
that is a rough stat line.
yeah. I
They're
admittedly have not watched a lot of their games. I
yeah,
just know what I read and what I hear. Some of the
right.
highlights. I
They're,
think anytime you're going to Kinnick at night, that's one of the tougher places to play. I think certainly Michigan State's going to have their hands full, but again, I feel a little more optimistic this week. I don't have any specific reason why. They haven't given me any reason to be optimistic. Um, we'll get into the picks part later, but I think the 11.5 point spread, I don't even know if can Iowa score 12 points to cover that spread.
that was
I
my
don't
point.
know. I think it's a good opportunity for Michigan State to get a win again, because it's not an overly complicated to-do list when it comes to what you have to do to win this game. Stop
Yeah,
the run, make them pass, and score points. Because if it turns into a high-scoring affair, which with the Iowa or defense, it probably won't. But if you can get to turn into that kind of game, the game turns into Michigan State's favor.
yeah,
I think offensively, we probably have similar weapons as far as receivers. Quarterback wise, I never thought that highly of Cade McNamara at Michigan. He was fine at managing games, but when it's his job to actually go out there and win games
Mhm.
without those great running backs or weapons they have, I'm not really sure how good he is. Obviously, there's a huge mismatch when it comes to their offensive line against our, not that they'll play against their offensive line, their offensive line is so much better than ours.
Yeah.
But this is a great opportunity for the defensive line to make a statement. I mean, we heard going into the season how good and how improved this defensive line has been. So this is a great chance for them to prove that.
Yeah, and my point about McNamara was just that everybody expected him to be, or all the national media expected him to be great, and he's kind of proven what we thought with him not being that great. And I think, turning this game into a track meet, normally that happens with the passing game in a lot of games. Iowa's passing defense isn't going to let that happen, but their run defense is where you can hurt them. I mean, outside of that Penn State game, they've given up over 100 yards on the ground in each game. So, I mean, that's one way we can do that. And that kind of benefits our offensive approach. Nikki, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, first thing, do you guys know if either Berger or Mangum's back?
I was just going to ask that.
I don't think
I haven't
pretty
heard
sure,
anything on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not, but I was gonna say that would be huge for us if either of them could be healthy. But
Yeah.
and honestly, Winston's gonna hate this, but one thing that this game could actually kind of benefit Noah Kim, just because he's allegedly known for his running. So he doesn't have to pass that much; he can just run.
Yes.
You would think that Harlan Barnett would probably try to utilize that, but I mean, I guess we'll see. I think we're gonna squeak out a win here. For some reason, I'm feeling optimistic because if it gets into a track meet, we need to just fire Scotty Hazelton at halftime.
Yeah.
Because that is nightmare for our defense if they are just running up the score on us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think if our offense plays, let's just say adequate, even it could be maybe slightly below adequate. If they just play like a adequate Big Ten football team, I think we will be able to win.
I liked your thought earlier this week that Kim gets benched at halftime. Hauser comes in and leads a 10-3 win. That sounds good.
I
Sounds
mean,
good
that,
to me.
I remember
I honestly don't think we win, but yeah.
Yeah.
Score
I,
prediction?
We want to get into picking this game now. Yeah,
no, we'll wait till later to make the pick.
we'll wait till
but,
later. Okay.
Yeah, I think Nick, you made a good point on the on Noah Kim running. It's just remaining meeting time.
Yeah,
9 minutes,
I
15
know. I
seconds.
got you. We can open
Okay.
another one. Yeah, yeah.
It's a great point, but how many? The guy's 185 pounds, doesn't like to get hit. I mean, they can try and let him run a few times, but those Iowa linebackers and DBs are no softies. I mean, he's going to take a couple hits and who knows. But Harlan Barnett did say he wanted him to get more involved in the run game, or get Kim more involved in the run game. So I would expect to see some of that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I would prefer that, but I think we could see that at the beginning, and who knows, maybe it'll work out for us.
Yeah,
But I don't expect that.
it would be nice. I mean, just some life from this football team. I know it's kind of going back to the Maryland game, and I know we kind of already moved on from that, but I just feel like again there was no pulse. Like
Yeah.
no one wanted to be there. It's like this country club atmosphere, which, if your team is 5-0, okay, they can act however you want, but you've got guys that need to prove themselves. We should be fighting for spots, and coaches that should be trying to keep their jobs or prove that they can coach at a next job whenever this new guy comes in. And there's just no where's the attitude,
Yeah,
It felt like the
kind of
younger
dead.
guys
Yeah,
were stepping up a bit.
Yes.
But it looked like the coaches probably just don't give a shit anymore, the assistants at least, because I just cannot imagine in any universe, even if we went out and Harlan Barnett becomes our head coach, I don't even see those coordinators as our coordinators next year.
no, they won't be our coordinators, but they still need to put tape on for other teams to hope to get another freaking job.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the incentive to actually perform.
Yes, that's true.
I'm not saying they're actually doing it, but I mean, yeah, it's been rough. It's gonna keep being rough.
But that being said, the first one we get, like if and when that happens, I think that will really spark some life into this team and just kind of at least let them have fun. Let them have fun for the rest of the year. Maybe win a couple games. Maybe make a bowl. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, if they want any chance of making a bowl, it's got to start tomorrow.
Tomorrow you win. I just think that could spark something. By week 2 prepare for Rutgers, I want to say. Then it's like after season starts, we start cooking.
Yeah, you got to win the next 2, get some momentum.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for this team. I mean, going on the road, this win could do a lot could pump some life back into those guys, and fingers crossed that they can make something happen.
All right, now we're gonna get into coaching talk here. Like I said, not as much as last time. Basically, the concept is you get one name who you think is going to be hired as the head coach, not necessarily who you would hire, but who you think is going to be hired. Nick, I'll let you start on this one.
All right, so gun to my head, I'm thinking I feel like it's gonna be Jake Dickert from Washington State. Like he just gives off MSU coach. It just feels like the kind of guy that like the board of trustees would want. He's at a little brother-esque school that's getting out of the conference. I think it'll be pretty easy to get. I don't know if easy is the right word, but them not going to the Pac or not going to the Big Ten or not really being in the conference next year is not good for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just seemed like a hire that MSU would make.
Yeah, I can see that. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think for variety's sake, I'm gonna go with Charles Huff, Marshall. Just it seems like he's up there on their board a little bit. Has that Big Ten pedigree, has the Saban pedigree, has the James Franklin pedigree, some recruiting chops. Might need to prove some stuff a little more, but I mean, seeing some of his interviews and stuff in the past, I would say for variety's sake, and not saying Dickert, I'll go with Charles Huff. Winston, who you got?
This is tough. I think you guys both made good choices there. I I want to say Elko, but I'm worried that might be wishful thinking at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if um, they're gonna like. They just feel like the coaching search has taken a turn for the worst a little bit here.
When you see those lists they put out, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly. My optimism is at an all-time low. I still think they can get someone good. Having said that, I think Nick probably took mine with Dickert. So I will go with Mike Tressel with Wisconsin
oh,
DC. And,
oh,
that's not who I want,
oh,
but I
yeah,
think that that's going to
yeah.
be in the mold. I feel like the board of trustees or whoever is involved in making these hirings loves to go to people that have coached at Michigan State or have some kind of ties to the program. So that's unfortunately the route I think they'll end
I
up
thought you were
going.
about to say Narduzzi.
That he was the next name I thought was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of.
Yeah.
yeah. You see that list? I mean, the fact that Dan Enos was on one of that list tells me they're not taking this seriously.
It's so scary.
That,
I mean,
that's just,
that is
oh my
so
God.
scary.
So apparently that could have just been like his eight, like Danny knows
Oh yeah,
agent.
yeah.
Of course, yeah. The
That's
sources
Get
have
a
how
been
raise,
taken.
like
that's how these things work. But the fact that that was even out there
It's
just
scary.
scares the shit out of me.
I
Yeah,
mean, he
like
probably would have done. He probably just said MSU. I went there. Like, let's get a raise, baby. Like MSU might just
what
been shut the hell up.
I mean, even D'Antonio booted him out. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So it's but it never hurts to ask. Like, so
uh,
she's just
uh,
asking.
I don't know. I mean, that would be worse than hiring Pat Shermer to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I'm just saying that's not. Come on,
Yeah,
that's not happening, guys.
no, no. We like to say that, but we never know what these people.
Come on, our coach
I
isn't
I
gonna jerk off on a
I
phone.
I, I think I think the three of us are kind of in that Dickert boat right now, but we did a pretty good job with the variety of answers there, just to play devil's advocate a little bit. I wouldn't mind Dickert being there though, if I'm being honest. Well, that's our coach talk for today. Now we're getting into the villains draft here. Bunch of people that have done MSU wrong in some way, mostly on the court, I would think, or on
or
the field,
field.
on the court. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. That, yeah. There are certain off the field people, shall we say, that we have decided not to include in this. If you're a state fan, you probably know who they are, and we are not going to say them by name.
You definitely know who we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Schmary schmack.
Technical difficulties. And now back to the show.
okay.
All right.
So we have determined off recording that I will go first. So I'm going to take mine, and I'm going off the field to a certain media member that has pissed us all off to no end. And that is, and I hate that I have to say his name here because I really don't want to give him any attention, but as one Mr. Dan Dockich.
I knew that was
Oh,
gonna be your first pick.
Cannot stand that. I cannot stand that man. He is an absolute moron, and all he does is take shots at MSU, baseless shots mostly too. I think earlier this week he was talking about the Tucker thing, and he called us like a scumbag school, and Mel Tucker was just playing along with the game or something like that.
I
It's
think what he said
not,
is something
yeah.
along the lines of like Michigan State is snakes and Mel Tucker decided to play with snakes or something.
Well,
And what he
and then
said was
he
so
said something
inaccurate.
after
Something
that too.
the
Yeah.
media is in MSU's pocket, which is could not be more
Yep.
false. I mean, I think there
Yeah.
probably be, I mean,
Yep.
I don't want to take any names here, but the media is certainly not in MSU's pocket, especially if you
No.
focus on local Detroit media. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I get my point is like you exactly made my point there. He's always saying stupid, uninformed stuff like it's fact, and then he says shit years ago about Miles Bridges and this stuff. I think back when we were in school about people that go to Michigan State are only the ones that didn't get into Michigan and shit
Yeah.
like that. It's like, dude, do some freaking research. Stop going for attention. And I hate that this is giving him attention, but I mean, what, we got like 10 listeners, so it doesn't really matter.
That's a good one, Trev. That's not the direction I thought you were going to go with the first pick, but that's a good solid choice.
Interesting. I wonder. I don't even know who you would have thought I was going for pick then. But
We could circle back on.
yeah.
I don't want to
yeah.
take any
Well,
names off the board.
All right. So my number one pick could be credited for the resurgence of Michigan State football. That's one Michael Hart.
I
Nice.
said that on my
bro.
list too. Yeah,
I had him on my potential list.
me too.
What if we hired him as an offensive coordinator with our
I
new
just-
head coach? Shawn Moore takes the job, takes Mike Hart.
I don't think he'd take the job.
I don't think so either.
I mean, obviously not, but I mean, Biggie Mun.
That's a good pick,
Yeah.
Nick, and because he won, obviously the little brother comment. Two, had a pretty good career against Michigan State. I'm not sure if he lost any games.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so either. But I was not going to pick him because one, I enjoy him as a villain, and two, I think we have a lot to thank him for when it comes to that little brother comment. Because if you look at our record before that comment and the record after that comment,
Yeah,
you could make a great argument that
Well-
that helped us out a lot.
if you look at it from an influential standpoint, I think he's in there. Like
I agree.
That's why he's like,
he influenced the future of the program.
he's a man you love to hate.
That's the truth. That's the truth. All right, my turn.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go with another Michigan player. Probably played on some of the same teams as Mike Hart. Kind of a double faceted pick here. He beat up Michigan State as a player and has continued to do so as now, I guess, a media member in Detroit. I'm going to go with Braylon Edwards.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah,
I had
I
him
mean,
on my list too. Yeah.
just like we'll get into the media part, but obviously 3 games against Michigan State, 323 yards over 22 catches. I think also was undefeated against MSU. I would have to fact check that, but and he had that 2004 game-winning touchdown in triple or double overtime. But now he's on like the Woodward Sports or whatever that
Yep.
bullshit
With
show
that-
they have, and he just says the most outlandish things about Michigan State. And I get that show Spin is kind of like an anti-Michigan State show. It's a Michigan show, but the stuff he says is not even like real. Like it's just absurd.
yeah,
It's like it's
yeah.
off base. It's just to rile people up. There's no like factual or any kind of journalistic integrity whatsoever to it. He just clearly hates Michigan State and just says the most awful things, and I can't stand it.
Sounds like a lot of Michigan people on Twitter too. Not
Yeah.
just not just him, but yeah. He's the one that has a microphone in his face on whatever Woodward Sports broadcasts on. I don't even know what it is. I just see their random clips on Twitter.
Yep. All right, so back to you, Trev.
Yep. I am going to go football route here. I'm going to go with John L. Smith.
Oh,
That's a good one.
okay.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Don't think that needs much of an explanation, but he had a decent first season. We went to a bowl game. Just issues all across his staff every year. Couldn't control a lot of things. Bad seasons at the end. Had plenty of talent on a lot of those teams, but
Mhm.
couldn't do anything. And thankfully, he was out. Antonio came in.
Did
Yeah.
he have Stanton and Hoyer?
He had Stanton. I don't think Hoyer played a stat for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good one. I mean, whenever you have like an era named after you, it's either good or bad.
Yeah.
And the John
Yeah.
L. Smith era, I feel like it's
And
said a
then-
lot, and it's definitely not for good.
And then you get the L stands for Lansing kind of thing. That's just super cringy now. And then not only that, but his name kind of makes you pause a little bit when you hear Jonathan Smith at Oregon State and his coaching talks.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just-
That might be his biggest
It's-
knock against him.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Nick.
All right. So mine, I'm sure you guys are all expecting this one from me, but the Spartan killer Boo Buie. Good basketball player, Northwestern, but I mean, he's better than like Steph Curry whenever he plays Michigan State. It's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
we're supposed to beat Northwestern, and we just
We
roll up there,
don't,
they
yeah.
roll here the last few years, and he just goes off. God, it makes me so angry every time.
Does.
Yeah.
Is he graduated yet?
No,
No,
he's
he's still here. Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a good one.
yeah. I think he tested the draft waters and came back for a 5th year. If I'm not
Of course he
mistaken.
did.
So,
Of course.
yeah, that's the way it goes these days.
Yeah. For my next pick, I should say, I wasn't expecting to pick this person because I thought he'd be gone by now, and I think it's a little low-hanging fruit, but I think it's too hard to pass up now in the second round. I'm going to go with Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, I could probably go on for a half hour about why he's a villain.
Yeah.
I'll preface all this by saying he's a great villain. I think that there's not a much better person to really hate or enjoy hating than Jim Harbaugh. He plays the role so well. Obviously, just from a rivalry standpoint, but I think the hatred really got cranked up a notch last year after the tunnel situation and how him and Ward Manuel handled that whole thing, and how Jim Harbaugh's crying and wanting players to be basically thrown the book at legally, and just really turned Michigan State into the bad guy as best as he could. Basically launched a whole smear campaign against Michigan State. And then I look back to when that Michigan game in 2018 when Bush tore up the field, and all Jim Harbaugh could do was blame Mark D'Antonio like it was somehow his fault, and that somehow was gave Devin Bush the green light to do what he did. Harbaugh just knows how to push my buttons, and I compliment him for it.
Yeah. I think I'm surprised that lasted so long. I think I just like overlooked it because it's so easy to hate him
I
so
almost
much.
felt guilty
It's
picking
like,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
Good pick.
Yeah, it
Good
was
pick,
almost-
especially that late.
was-
Yeah.
It was like an obligation that someone had to pick it because it was
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
Grab.
All right. We'll go last round of picks here. This one might be a name that I don't know if you've kind of forgotten about it, but it's the name that a lot of people might not have here on this list. But Guinea Potts led the Middle Tennessee. I'm explaining. He led the Middle Tennessee upset over second seed MSU our senior year of college.
Wow.
That day when they
Yeah,
could
he's a
not
bad
miss shots, and he was I believe their leading scorer at the end of that game. So that was one of the worst March Madness moments I can remember from our side. And
Can you say his name again?
His name is Guinea Potts.
Guinea Potts. It was
Okay,
I thought that was someone. I thought that was some like 1930s football coach or something. That oh, my biggest villain is
Sounds
Muddy
like it.
Waters.
I thought it was like a coach's wife or something.
It's funny.
Told
That's a
you
good
might
one,
not have
though.
it. Yeah.
That was outside the box.
All right.
Go ahead,
So
Nikki.
for my last pick, this one's obvious. Jet sweeps. Those
Okay.
are
Okay.
villain for MSU.
Talk about outside the box. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Every time
Wait.
you see jet sweep, you usually are
We
not
talk-
happy after.
We talking jet sweeps in general or short side of the field? Very, very important.
In general,
Just in general.
Okay.
it's specifically jet sweeps, not the person calling the jet sweeps. Dave
No,
Moore, specifically the play.
Right. Ah,
Yeah. Because Jay Johnson does it sometimes, and I can't even watch a football game when someone runs a jet sweep without like cringing,
yeah.
even if it's executed well. Just the word.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. I thought more of mine would be taken. I don't know if I should just get specific with this one or stay general. I'm just gonna say I was gonna say the media, in general. That seems a little too general because there's a lot of names,
Free-
obviously.
Free Press,
Uh,
Detroit News, which
So I will pare it down a little bit, but
okay.
and say the blue wall. So Free
Fair
Press,
enough.
all the
Oh yeah.
basically everyone at 97 won the ticket except for Rico Beard and Michael Valeni,
Yeah,
the Detroit Free Press, just whoever you can think of, Mitch Album, just the entire local Detroit sports media uh, just seems to have this vengeance against Michigan State. And it's
yeah,
so unwarranted and so unfair. And it paints them in such a poor light. And by them, I mean the media.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
anyone from that has any kind of objectivity can see from a mile away that their reporting and commentary and stances they take on MSU it's lack of so much of any journalistic integrity.
Yeah.
Anyone that has lived in or experienced it in Michigan knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Speaking as someone who is a professional member of the Dallas Dallas sports
Whoa.
journalism area, they're some of that stuff is just embarrassing to see and when reading it. I mean, you guys probably saw when I retweeted that list from the Free Press of the coaching candidates. I could have written a list like that when I was 5. Like,
Right.
come on, do something better.
Yeah. I mean,
they're bad.
the coaching examples are, just a perfect example of what their issue is. Like they just see Michigan State as this, for lack of a better term, little brother, and they think that we should just be
Mhm.
hiring someone from Toledo or Eastern Michigan. And it goes from the media, even like my friends, they see like, oh yeah, Chris Creighton would be a great hire for Michigan State. Oh, okay, yeah, this guy who goes 7-5 at Eastern, that's a great hire.
Yeah.
That's exactly who we should hire.
Yeah, right.
Do we have a little bit of time
Let's-
for honorable mentions?
Yeah. That's what I
Well,
was about to get to here.
let's just recap it. So, Travis, you had Dan Dockich, John L. Smith,
Yeah.
and Guinea
Jimmy
Potts.
Potts.
Okay. Nikki had Mike Hart, Boo Booey, and Jet Sweeps. And Willie went with Braylon Edwards, Jim Harbaugh, and the Blue Wall. So all the listeners
There's
out
a,
there
there's a
can tell
theme
us who
there.
they think won.
Yeah, there's a theme in that list.
Yeah. Yes, there certainly is. So honorable mentions. This I'll let you start. If you have a couple of
Okay.
honorable mentions.
Okay, I'll give a couple. I think one you have to go with from football standpoint, Bobby Williams.
Another coach.
Took over right after Nick Saban had a decent season, and then I remember right before he was let go, I was like, damn, we lost 49-3 against Michigan. You can't be doing that in East Lansing ever.
No,
So
that might
that's-
happen this year.
Yeah, well, yeah. Unfortunately, well, the difference is we don't have actually there is no difference considering, I was gonna say the difference is we have no coach, but I mean, was he really a coach back then?
Nice.
Another one, it just seemed like we never beat. I could keep this in general and just say like Duke and Coach K, but I'm gonna go specific with JJ Redick. When he was in school, we could never beat him except for that tournament that one time. And kind of in the same vein, what we beat in that same tournament was Jerry McNamara in at Syracuse, yeah, with Mello. So those were a couple of them. I mean, how many of these are we going with? So
I
a
think-
whole list here.
Yeah, give me a couple more.
Yeah,
Just be on the
okay.
list.
Rattle them off.
I'm going
Yeah.
deep. I think. Well, these aren't going to be deep. These are no-brainers right now, and they're currently on our coaching staff. I would say Jay Johnson, Scotty Hazelton. I think
Coordinators.
those fit. And I don't think I need to explain that one. Let's see who else did I put down on here. Let's say this one probably within the Guinea Potts mold. Back in 03, maybe we got knocked out in the first round of the tournament by Nevada, and it was all because of Nick Fazekas and Kurt Snyder.
Assholes.
I was 10 and really pissed off at that point. I don't even know what the hell happened to either of those guys, but it's a tournament game. We lost to freaking Nevada before they were even on the map. I mean, now they're kind of on the basketball map at least, but
Yeah.
that was a rough one. And I'll stop there because I'm probably going to overlap with a few of you guys on these other. Actually, I think there's one more we got to throw out there. Is you mentioned Braylon Edwards earlier? How about his co-host? That
Ryan Armani.
Yeah.
He's
That-
part of the blue wall.
Yeah. I'm just getting into specific people. He's a joke.
Yep. He's just as bad as Braylon Edwards.
And actually, I'll save this other one in case you guys have them, but I'll put it out there later.
All right, Nikki, fire away.
Yeah.
All right. So this one's kind of mean, but Andrew Maxwell.
Yeah.
I'll go next. Next one, Hunter Dickinson.
Yep.
Fleet
He was
asshole.
on mine. Yep.
Taylor Lewan.
Yep. I had him
Yeah.
too.
That's a good one too.
Mackey Arena. I mean, that place
Fair,
is just
fair.
for
The full center then would work there too.
telephones. I think we all know why. Dave Warner,
You put some thought into this.
Devin Bush. I forgot the guy's name, but I don't want to look it up, so I just said that short asshole at Kansas State who beat us. He just was insane this year.
Yeah.
I respect him, but and Shabazz Napier.
Shabazz Napier. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That UConn loss in 2014 or 13 always sticks out as one of the worst losses.
14. Yep.
I was just so depressed after that loss.
Yep. We were all watching that one together.
Yep.
Yep. I remember
Shaw
that one.
Hall,
Shaw
baby.
Hall, West Shaw. Okay, I got to some of these names are part of the blue wall, so I gotta kind of sift through my list here, like Wojo. We don't have to talk about him.
Yeah.
The Big House Tunnel I have on there.
That was a good one. That was a very good one. How did we miss that?
I have ESPN, and then more specifically Paul Levine and Dan Murphy.
Oh, how did we miss that?
Let me see.
I think we just
here.
skipped over those because we didn't want them.
Yeah, I mean, you could really put the media in general. It's really ridiculous. Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office.
Fair.
Michael Penix Jr.
Yep.
Let me see here. Want to make sure I get everything. This person I actually don't feel is a villain. Lloyd Carr, but he was 10-3 against Michigan State.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a classy guy, but he beat the crap out of us.
He wasn't a jackass about it like some of those other ones.
Yeah. Nick Saban I have on here, obviously for leaving.
That's
and then
fair,
every time we play him, he beats the crap out of us.
Destroying us.
Yeah. Comberg hit Mackey Hall or Mackey Arena. I have Purdue basketball on there because of Mackey Arena and stealing Caleb Swanigan from us. Rest in peace.
And their record against us lately.
Yeah. Then they have those big aliens that always beat us up. But I think that covers my list. I feel like I wrote a bunch of things down, but Herm Edwards, 2-0 against Michigan State.
That's a really good one.
That was out of the box a little bit. Yeah, I think
I had zone defenses as well.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
That's good.
I had a couple. I would say I don't remember his name. There's some jackass at Barstool is always running his mouth about how he doesn't get why people like Michigan State.
Jack Mack.
Yeah, I blocked him on Twitter.
So,
he has recently said that he no longer he's ended his rivalry with us.
Okay.
But he's declaring victory.
Which is I'll give it to him.
I blocked him, so I don't care. And then I would say another one, not really a sports thing, but Ace.
What is a pace?
Ace.
Oh, that's people. A good one.
Parking people. That's good. That's good. That was a good list. I think you guys all hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Taylor Lewan was we got him right.
Yeah.
Other one I had was the refs in the Wisconsin Big Ten championship game.
Yeah,
in 2011. Yes.
Yeah. See, I had that moment on my list. I wasn't sure who to blame for that. Whether it should be, I don't want to blame Isaiah Lewis after all he did, but he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the one the penalty got called on.
It was a pretty ticky-tack call. I feel like I've seen it over and over again. And every time I think they didn't have to call that. That was a pretty good
kicker. Blame the kicker for really just like milking it.
Yeah, that's probably the better one to blame. But they shouldn't have been anywhere near him, to be honest with you.
Oh, Board of Trustees, easy villain.
Yeah, oh,
Yes,
hey,
yes, good one.
Sometimes-
Nikki.
That's the
Sometimes
head
you're your
honcho
own
right
worst
there.
enemy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I just thought of one too, and I feel like we got at some point we got to cut it off. But
yeah.
NCAA selection committee for basketball. I
Oh
feel
my
like we
God.
never get like, oh, we could be a 2 or a 3, and we
And
never
it's
end
like
up being
we're
a
a
2.
five,
We always end
yeah.
up being a 5. Like it's never
Yeah.
like we never get the benefit of the doubt. It's always like, oh, how can we make Michigan State have to travel? Like let's put them in the West bracket as a 5 seed, or let's make them play the play-in game so we can get ratings against UCLA. It's never like,
That-
oh, let's just give the team that deserves the benefit of the doubt the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
it's
they
not
always
it's
put
not
us in
like
the toughest region,
Mm-hmm.
besides last year.
it's not like Izzo's proven himself or anything. You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was good. All right. You jump into picks.
Yep. This is Willie's segment here.
All right. Cue the music,
Pick
baby.
action.
Yeah. Nikki, if you could work your editing skills and get some music going in the background here, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe like ba 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 ba
Get something going.
Okay.
Get something going.
Okay. So for the first game, this is tonight, probably happening. It may have already started. No, it's 9 p.m. It's Pac-12. Number 10 Utah going on the road to number 19 Oregon State. Oregon State is favored by 4 points. Trav, you go first, then Nick will go, then I'll go.
I'm gonna take Utah on that one. I like them. They're a little deeper, I think. Travel pretty well usually. So.
I think Oregon State wins, but Utah covers.
All right, I've got Utah as well. And for all the reasons you said, Fist travel well, tough. They're physical. That coach does a nice job down there. The next one I have here is number 22 Florida going to Kentucky. Kentucky is favored by 1.
I got Kentucky in that one. History's not on their side recently, but take it.
Kentucky sucks. Florida.
I'm going to go with Florida as well. And Trev, you took Kentucky?
Yes. Somebody's
All right.
got to be different.
I'm marking these down so next week we can go through how we're doing. The next one I have is number 8 USC minus 21.5, traveling to play Coach Prime's Colorado Buffalo.
I mean, we saw what happened to Colorado last week. I think they're going to be motivated, but I still think that USC's too good. Yeah, I realize this is a big spread, but like we said last week, sometimes Vegas knows something. So I'm going to go with USC.
Okay.
I think because they just got. Oh. Yeah, I'm
There's
gonna
no
go
Hunter
USC as
still.
well.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some. I know Nick Marsh is at the Colorado game, so visiting for that. So I want to see them get blown out. So let's go USC.
Got a vendetta against a 17-year-old.
No, against USC. I want them to look bad for him.
So you're picking USC?
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to go with Colorado. I think this could be a classic fool me once, shame on you, or shame on me, or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of game. But I think that I thought it was obvious Colorado was going to get blown out last week versus Oregon. And I think that Vegas is trying to say to everyone again, like, oh, pick USC. You know, they're obviously going to beat Colorado, just like Oregon did. But that line seems like too much points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. And I think Colorado can keep it close. Next game here, moving on. Number 2, Michigan traveling to Lincoln to play the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Michigan is now favored by 18 points.
So Michigan hasn't covered a spread yet this year, so Nebraska. I don't think they win that game at all, but I think the 18 big home spread. So.
Yeah. Nikki?
You know, Michigan's got to impress at one point if they're the number 2 team. Let's say they cover.
I think that's a fair point. For the same reasons as Trav, I'm going to go with Nebraska. Again, same reasons as Travis. Michigan hasn't covered a game yet this year. I don't think there's any way Nebraska wins this game, but I do think eventually it's going to click for Matt Rule, and maybe he's got something in his back pocket. It's Nebraska at some point has to turn a corner, and I think that hopefully, I'm kind of hoping. I just don't want to pick Michigan, so I'm going to go with Nebraska with the points. The next game here, Kansas traveling to Austin to play Texas. Texas is 16-point favorites.
I'll go with the Longhorns on that one. I'm not totally comfortable with it, but they're rolling for the most part, except for that Wyoming game. So,
All right, Nikki.
Texas is back. They're covering next.
All right. I am also, you know what? I'll be a contrarian here. I had Texas marked. Let the record show I was going to go with Texas. You guys both picked Texas. I'm going to flip to Kansas here. Let's go Jayhawks. Rock chalk.
All right.
Texas looks good though. That
it too.
The next one, number 13 LSU -2.5 at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'll take LSU. I know I picked, Ole Miss screwed me last week. I picked them to cover against Bama.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. So, yeah, get my
Go with
revenge
Tigers.
here. Get my
Go
revenge here.
Tigers.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikki.
I'll do Old Mississippi.
Louisiana's native son going against
Yeah.
the Tigers.
I think they'll cover. I think Mississippi will cover.
I am going to follow Nikki here and go with Ole Miss as well. I think a bit of a bounce back opportunity for them. Maybe a little up down theory there. Next game, another bounce back opportunity for another team coming off a loss. Notre Dame, number 11 Notre Dame. Favored by 5.5, traveling to Mike Elko's Duke Blue Devils. Travis?
Pains me to say this, but I'm going to go Notre Dame. I think if they're going to win that game, which I think they will, they win by a touchdown. Please. All right. So.
Oh, what's the spread again?
5.5 Notre Dame.
I'm gonna say let's say Duke because Mike Elko and the team he said are watching 300 tonight. And they're doing a Spartan pregame chant, so they're gonna win this game. They're gonna be a big game hunter up for upsets, just like D'Antonio, and he's gonna take the throne next year in East Lansing.
I like it, Nikki. I'm going to let you have this one for Duke. I'm going to take Notre Dame as well. I think a bounce back opportunity for sure. I thought they played better than Ohio State last week. They just did not capitalize at all on their opportunities. I think there's a lot of press right now for Duke and Mike Elko. I like Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman to bounce back there and get the job done by at least a touchdown. All right, now for the part that everyone's been waiting for. The Spartans of Michigan State traveling to Kinnick. Now the line is now moved to 10.5. It was 11.5. Iowa's favored. Vis, start us off.
I am going to, unfortunately, I think we lose this one. My confidence is at a record low at this point. I will say Iowa 13, MSU 7.
Okay.
Feels like that kind of game.
I hope you're wrong, Vis, but
So do I.
I'm going to say Michigan State pulls this one off. We eke it out, and I think it's going to be a 17-10 win.
Okay. I like it, Nikki. I'm going to go with the Spartans as well. I like your score a lot. I think something weird might happen, maybe a blocked field goal or a blocked extra point, I should say, or some kind of safety. I'm going to go Michigan State 16, Iowa 10.
It's going to be an ugly game for sure. The way
I agree.
we both play. Yeah.
So the over under is 36.5. I was going to ask about the over under as well, but since you guys all gave me your scores, it looks like we're all going with the under.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that's a
Okay.
pretty safe bet.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Okay.
Well,
I'll mark it down. I can listen back to last week's and figure out how everyone did. And
Sure.
we can
Okay.
keep track as we go on here.
okay.
Let's do it.
That's something we probably should have been doing at the beginning. All right. Pretty.
Well, everybody enjoy the weekend. Always nice catching up with you. Love talking Spartan football, obviously. Go green, and hopefully, I mean, I just want to see some life. Winning a game you're not supposed to is always fun. So hopefully they can really give us some excitement heading into Monday, coming off a Lions win and a Michigan State win. There's nothing else. I'll talk to you guys later.
Go green, combined with
White.
Cheated green and white since
Spartans well.
1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. That green and white got them feeling some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Is it cause we're number one, you feel some type of way? Type of way, make them feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Dark West is a finalist for that Thorpe Award. Shout out to Pat Narduzzi, our defensive guard. Another 100 yards rush for Lane Ford. Put another 6 on the scoreboard. I guarantee you we gon' be ranked in the top 10. Winning over the University of Michigan. Shouts to Bullard, defensive captain. December 7th, 8 p.m. we bout to win again. Michigan State, Michigan State. From Charlene to Lucas Oil, we came to play. Everybody great, even our punter great. He's up for the Ray Guy Award, even our punter great. Some type of way, yeah, they feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Spartan Dogs, we winning in the end zone. Chillin' number one defense all over. Big 10, undefeated, no truck. They ain't cheated, green and white since 1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. That green and white got them feeling some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Is it cause we're number one, you feel some type of way? Type of way, make them feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Don't try to pass Trey Waynes or pick it off, or Isaiah Lewis or Curtis Drummond the boss. The whole secondary can't forget the nod. That 4-3 that we running, respect the squad. Respect the line, respect the line. Shalik Calhoun coming for you, that's 89. Marcus Rush coming for you, that's 44. And please believe we got Mr. Reynolds on those. Tackle bro, tackle bro. Tyler Hoover 6'7", ain't no stopping bro. Identicals. And Mr. Jones, lay you out flat coming through the hole. Now we back on O. Offense, that's Spartan power. Watch Connor Cook throw it deep to Benny Flowers. He got all day, perfect passing. Shout out to the O-line, Mr. Travis Jackson. Dogs, we winning in the end zone. Chillin' number one defense all over. Big 10, undefeated, no truck. They ain't cheated, green and white since 1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way.